Here we go.
Hello, I'm coming to you live from upstate New York, and I'm here with Amy Tatsumi, who's coming to us from Washington, D.C. Amy, how are you doing?
I am so excited to be supporting your Birth Your Business Summit. I've shared it with my list and with clients, and I've heard so many amazing takeaways from so many of the different speakers, and I just wanted to help you to continue to get the word out.
Thank you. Everybody, I absolutely love Amy so much. I don't even quite remember how I found her, but the instant we started talking, I was like, wow, this is my woman. Her work is really, it's deep, it's definitely, she talks about things that not a lot of people are talking about. When we talked about the shadow work and how you lead retreats for women and diving into this stuff that not a lot of, the spiritual community, we all know there's a lot of bypassing and not a lot of people want to go into the dark side, even though it's totally necessary for growth. And once you said that, I was like, wow, I love this girl.
Oh, thank you, Beth.
But I want to hear more about what you're up to and how you help support women. And Amy did this in our summit. Amy was a guest, and she gave away this free Tantra video that if you haven't signed up, you can sign up for the summit for 5 or 6 more days, and you can download her free gift. But I've been doing it, and it's been awesome because, I actually do go a little woo-woo, but I also have the deep truth and science behind it all. But I've been manifesting pretty much everything I've put my mind to. And I know that this calling it in, this work with the energy has definitely helped. So thank you.
I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, so talk about what you're up to and what you're up to next and the work that you do.
Yes. So I'm in the process right now. I have a Tantra energy class that I'm holding with Kaylee McKenna. And it's going to become an evergreen class. I'm excited because it's going to be my intro to Tantra class and energy work. And so for people who are crystal curious or woo curious or Tantra curious, it's an amazing opportunity to kind of dip your feet in. There's homework and it's a progressive class over 4 weeks. And so it ends next week. And we're going to figure out how to get on evergreen. And then my next big thing is it's going to be a podcast that we're launching on June 23rd. And it's we just named it today. It's Get Your Magic On.
I love it.
It's myself with either 3 or 4 other women. So it's going to be a total of 4 or 5 hosts. And one of the women is a previous fighter pilot for the Air Force. One of the women is a strategic consultant, and she helps with indivisible work. Another woman is a poet, and she has her own holistic magical skincare line. We're all kind of had like the traditional life, military service, like very left brain way of living. And then we've kind of experienced a hybrid of growth and coming into like Tantra and magic and energy work and psychic premonitions and all kinds of things. Each of us have our own talents and gifts. And we're excited because we don't feel like there's many people out there offering what we're offering, especially from all of these women have done their own shadow work. And they've really met, themselves and their little girls, and they've grown their little girls up. And so they're no longer kind of self-sabotaging or staying small. And it's part of what we're going to offer in the podcast, and there'll be a community. And so I'm super, super excited about that. I have to upgrade my headphones.
Oh, yeah. I know. You need the whole podcast setup now.
Yes.
Be sure to watch the video of my friend who helps people launch podcasts and all the tips that she has. It's great.
I will have to.
No, I think it's amazing that because you're in the DC area, that you've run into women that have worked with the government and, like you said, a fighter pilot. I just, when you told me about her, I was actually a little shocked. I was like, wow, this is kind of the last type of spiritual awakening, while working in the Pentagon. I'm just curious, do you find that working down and dealing with kind of a different energy of clients and different people?
Oh, I mean, it's amazing. And I mean, I have friends who are in their awakening all over the world, but I think because we're in DC and especially because we're here during the Trump administration, that calling in the women who really want to like fucking wake up the world and change the world, I have like, I call it, instead of my bat signal, I call it my rose quartz jade egg signal. And like my yoni egg signal, it's like, it's pretty big. And these women, like they'll say to me, like, if I would have found you a year ago, I would have been like, what the fuck? That woman's crazy. She's like weird. But now, because they've had a moment of crisis with the election and the inauguration, they're like, I'm fucking down. Let's do this shit. Let's change the world. And we have to come back to our own magic and our own knowing and our own remembering to do it. And so, you know, World Bank employees, IFC employees, diplomats, you know, attorneys, like that's who my tribe is. And they're no joke. They're amazing. And we also have teachers and helpers and healers. So it's a huge group of people that would never on like an ordinary day, like have an intersection, but the intersectionality of the women who come together is just phenomenal.
Wow. Amy, I don't know, your connection seems to be coming in and out. Are you're on phone, or I don't know if it's the headphones or not.
I'm on the laptop, and it looks like on my side, I'm looking at my screen. Everything's okay, but maybe it's like maybe we're just pulling in a lot of energy.
It could just be my computer, or who knows, maybe live it's okay. But no, I think it's really amazing that are connected to our government is really potentially going to shift things. I mean, as we know, you know, this is now really taking action. People want to help. You know, I find even with my connected friends in New York they tend to be kind of go and shaker types. You know, there's still a lot of women that are lost. Like, what can I do to help? You know, like instead of just complaining on Facebook, you know, because that's easy. We all complain, no problem. But you know, like tangible actions. And I keep preaching, you know, just from my heart about work on yourself first. You know, like if you can shift yourself and then shift everyone around you through the work you've done in yourself. But I'm curious, like, what can you tell women who do want to start contributing to the world in a bigger way, or making their voice heard, or, you know, making tangible change versus just complaining?
Yeah, I mean, I think, so a big thing I talked about during the election and the inauguration was that there's a big shift in an energetic between kind of being enraged and like really like rage is really about fear and anger versus being aligned and having integrity. Like you're lit up and you're really serious, but you're not triggered by like the daily bullshit that comes out. Like you're like, okay, that's another thing, but that's to be expected because it's the litany of what's going to happen for the next 4 years. And so what am I going to do and not be taken off my course? Because I know I see what's ahead of me and I see the work. But if I use all my bandwidth just being angry all the time or just being frustrated or hopeless, then I have nothing to give to myself or to give back to the world. And so definitely it starts with the work on the self, but then also the big message of what we gotten from this experience is that we can't do it alone. Like it's not even, you know, Planned Parenthood can't even change it by itself, right? Like when that's a mega institution, like we need massive aspects of people coming together through their own spaces. Like we don't have to leave our jobs and go to work at Planned Parenthood. Like we need to do it in our own industry. So it's like, I tell the people that I work with, you know, the women who come to my koi classes or to my retreats, like you need to find the people who are awake and you go and talk with them and you start having coffees with them. You start having lunches with them, like at the World Bank, you know, at the EPA, at the FBI, like you start to meet the people and make the connections because it's going to hit every single agency. It's, you know, like this person's going to be removed. This person's going to be removed. This person's going to be like demoted, whatever. But the people that I see are mid to upper level career, and their job is then to just bring their herd underneath them along. Like, you know, if you're this is your first job or you're kind of early mid, then you're just bringing those people along. But if you're mid or upper, you're being called to step up, to call in your connections within your individual hubs. And so I'm not saying like this can be after work, but this needs to be happening at work.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I love that. I actually could see, you know, people organizing maybe women's groups within their organizations, you know, even at conservative organizations. You know, you start with a networking group and then open up conversations to, you know, maybe deeper things. And next thing you know, voila, there's change.
And I mean, in DC, especially, like what happens is like, we don't have, we can't call our senator, like we have no impact, right? Like taxation without representation. So it's like that step in DC isn't really applicable. So like we have to actually do it in a different way. And, in terms of like, what are your action steps around like your political steps? What I tell people is like, you don't need to be inundated. Like you don't have to have like NPR on 24/7 or like be reading, the New York Times 24/7, because that is too much stimulation. Because then you will get shut down, because you can't just take in all that input all the time. So it's like having a point person, or if you are that person who loves to collect and do a meta-analysis, then that's your job. But like most of our nervous systems can't take in all that information. So then you express gratitude to that friend or that person or on your Facebook feed, or who sends an email out, like, and that is as Michael Moore talked about, that's your rapid response team. And then okay, it's really important that I get that call in today, or it's really important that I send that email today, but you're not using all your bandwidth again to like sort through and sift through and like prioritize. Like that's being done by that's someone else's divine gift. That's not your gift. So you start to really prioritize, like I have so much bandwidth and I'm going to make a fucking difference. And this is how I'm going to start to really show up and connect with people who are aligned in making a difference with me.
Yeah. Oh, this is great. I mean, I have hope no matter what. And I really feel, because I'm surrounded with these women like you who are really powerful and amazing and actually working to make a change in the world. So I actually feel positive most of the time. I also agree. I tell people, I like to stay informed, but I don't obsess over NPR. Like, I used to be one of those people that kept it on all the time. And I actually was just constantly anxious.
Yes.
And constantly depressed. And it doesn't work.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. There's a way to stay informed in a healthy manner.
Right. And like in my psychotherapy suite, all my partners are 68 to 89. And so their clientele is much older based, compared to my clientele. And like, I even have people that work for NPR that come to see me, and we all are in agreement. We can't have NPR on all the time, because you're going to therapy. You already know that you're going to complain about something, but like, we don't need to have politics like ratcheted in our prefrontal cortex. It's like the thing that you want to then vent about, because that's not helpful.
Yeah, and the media, we all know the media really wants to scare us and keep us in the state,
keep us
down and then
paralyzed.
Yeah, keep us drinking alcohol and numbing ourselves. I mean, it's this vicious cycle, and thank God people are starting to wake up and, hopefully, and get the balance right. But really quickly before we go, I just also want to talk about, so you put on these amazing women's retreats, and make it to one day, because they just sound so powerful. Yeah. Can you tell us, because, where I am, I'm actually involved in, helping my friend put on a women's retreat in New York in a few weeks. And, there's a lot of movement. And of course, I know your tribe, understands what's going on. But what about women, like some of my friends who are like, oh, what do you mean Goddess Weekend? Because I actually had that reaction a few years ago, like, why would I go hang out with a whole bunch of women for straight? But can you talk more about, what goes on at these and how it really helps us? And
Yeah. I think no matter who is holding the retreat, everyone that ends up going gets exactly what they need. And it's different than like just hanging out with friends. There's a different kind of intentionality that happens when, the retreat guides get together and hold space, or what we call sacred space. And the support that comes in is not just like you and your friend and whomever else is holding it. It is the divine feminine. And when we get together and amplify that, it's just like if you are a religious person and you go to your house of faith, it's very different to pray by yourself versus coming together with a group of people. Or if you're a yogi, like you don't have to be religious. Like, or if you run a marathon, like you're a big runner, Beth, like, that running by yourself, some days it fucking sucks. And like, I don't want to do it. But then when you get to the marathon, it's this huge event, because it's all of these people's energies coming together with a single pointed focus, right? And so retreat work is much like that, but it's on a multidimensional scale. So we're coming, like, whatever, if it's just a goddess retreat, like, we're going because we're going to connect with the goddess archetypes that exist in the stars, that fucking planets and stars are named after archetypes of goddesses. It's not like, it's goddess work. Like, and to think about reclaiming of the divine feminine, I'm sure many women in your circle, and especially in New York, is not unlike DC. It's like women have lived in in diminished masculine, which is like, we don't have any idea what the feminine is when we're coming from a counterpoint. Yeah. Like, we don't know what that means to be feminine. And it's not like looking beautiful or feeling like a woman. I have trans women that come to my groups. I have, butch women that come. It's not about looking feminine at all. Like, that's not what a goddess circle is about. And women, like a lot of the women that come to me, they're with men all day at their jobs, or mostly men. And they'll come to my circles from retreats and they'll say, I had no idea how much I needed this. Like, I had no idea that being around women is so supportive and nurturing and healing for me. And so that's, like, I would say, the general part. And on my retreats, it's really what I've been called to do by source, infinite intelligence, whatever you want to call it. It's to be a portal for women to remember who they really are. And so I help you separate out the shoulds and the inner critic and the ego through the shadow work to then birth you back into yourself. And so I'm not doing it, but you're doing it through being witnessed by the other women who also see you, they remember you. And like, we don't have to name that you were like Athena, but like, they're going to know in some way, shape or form, or some energy. Like, you don't have to fight alone anymore, Beth. Like, you can join the army. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's the sacred witnessing and the sacred kind of activation that I just held a retreat of 50 women around rising together around the Trump administration in February. And I've had people come in just the past 2 weeks and say, like, I had no idea that weekend was going to be so potent. It was like 3 days. And they said, I birthed like X, Y, and Z from this retreat. And so the potency of a retreat is that you plant the seed of the retreat, and it's like amazing, you're on a high. But then with potent retreats, it is like a 9-month cycle. So just like you're birthing a baby, you're birthing parts of yourself or your business or your sex life or your relationship or whatever. Oh yeah.
It's amazing the transformations I've seen just from even like 2 days with a circle of women. I didn't know this could be true or could happen until I went and experienced it, and was like, first of all, I've never been around living in New York for as long as I have been. It's very masculine. I've been in a very male-dominated industry the last few years. Energy is just very like manly. But yeah, you're completely right. And I absolutely love what you're doing. So everybody who's watching, check out amy.com. She has, I don't know if you have spaces left, but I know she has a retreat in July and then another one in the fall. And they sound gorgeous. I mean, at the very least, they sound fun and beautiful. And I'm sure there's amazing food, because there's usually amazing food at all these women's retreats.
Yes, there's amazing food. And yes.
So at the very least, and I can't wait for your podcast. This is definitely something we need, and you're going to be great for it because you have such the right. I'm super excited. And thank you so much for being with me today. And everybody, amytatsumi.com. You can see her on the Birth Your Business Summit, which is for about 5 more days. So sign up with the link. It's all over my Facebook. It's on Amy's email. And Amy, thank you so much. And we'll be in touch very soon.
Yes. Enjoy upstate New York. Okay.
I will. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.